to our front end, we require one more dependency. And the name of that dependency is nothing but Axios. So here, inside the dependencies, we need to install Axios with the help of npm install Axios. Alright, by now, let's open it in an integrated terminal. So here I will write npm install Axios. Okay, so by now the Axios has got installed. So we'll go back to our auth.js, and inside this I will just import the Axios that I have installed from Axios dependency. And after that, here what I am required to do, I am required to paste the backend URL on which we were working previously. So our backend URL we are going to get inside our server.js. So here our backend port is 8000. So we'll go back to the auth.js, and here we will provide const API URL is equal to HTTP localhost 8000. And after that, here I will provide the endpoints as API and then auth. And then here I'll create two functions. First one is the login user, and second one is going to be my register user. And using those two functions, I'm going to access the endpoints which I have created inside my see, it should be there. Model is there, React is there. Yeah, inside the routes. See, inside the routes, I'm having register and login. So I am going to access these API endpoints inside my auth.js. So here I'll place export const login user is equal to assigning an asynchronous function to this login user variable. So first parameter is going to be the email, and the next parameter is going to be the password. Because while logging in, we require just two things, email as well as password. And since it is an arrow function, here we are going to make it, and then we will create a variable dress is equal to await axios dot. So in order to, as we have done in the previous class as well, we were using the post method in order to send our email as well as password. So instead of email validator, we will just write axios dot use the post method, and inside this use the template literals in order to fetch the backend URL that is stored inside the API URL variable. And after that, send the data to the login API endpoint. This is how we send our data, followed by inside the curly braces, pass the email as well as password fetching from the front end. So this is how we send the data from the front end to the back end, providing the exact API endpoint that we require in order to access that particular functionality. And after that, return the response and whichever data the backend is sending. All right. And here I will create one more function to register is equal to an asynchronous function providing the name, email, and password on whatever things that we have inside our controller. So in the, all right, we just have three things, that is name, email, and password at the time of registration. So we'll go back over here. I will provide name, email, as well as the password. Inside this, we'll do the same thing, but to the register endpoint. So I will copy this entire thing. Then I will paste it over here. And here, instead of login, I will provide register. And here before the email, I will also provide the name. And rest of the things are going to be same. And then I will save it. So this is how we are sending the entire data to the backend. Now moving on to our pages. So first page is going to be our login.jsx. So inside this, I will import React, and then I will also take the use state hook, and then I will take the use effect hook. From where? From the React library itself. And after that, I will take the login user functionality inside the login page.jsx, which is present inside my API folder and inside the auth.jsx file. So here I will provide import. Inside the curly braces, I will provide login user. And after that, I will also import the auth context. And after that, here I will create a function that is const login is equal to, starting with an arrow function. Here I will provide const login is equal to, with the help of the use context hook, I will use the auth context. And after that, I will set the email and password with the help of use state hook. So here I will create an array email, comma, this is the function that is set email is equal to use state, and I will initialize the email variable with an empty string. And after that, I will also take the password, and this password is also going to be an empty string is equal to use state. So we have done till this part. And after that, here I am going to create a function that is const handle submit. So I am going to execute this handle submit function whenever the user will try to click on the submit button after entering the details in the login form. So here I will provide one more asynchronous function. Inside this asynchronous function, I will pass E as a parameter, and this E stands for the event object. Alright, so why have I passed this E? Because I will use a method of the event object, that is prevent default. Now the question arises, why am I using this e.prevent default? So the default method which is associated with the submit button is the reloading of the web page. But at the time of login, we want the submit button to perform some task which is not reloading of the web page, obviously. So in order to prevent the default event related to the submit button, we use the prevent default method. All right. And after that, I will initialize a try catch block. And inside the try block, I will store the entire data which has been fetched from the backend to the data variable, that is const data is equal to await. And then I will use the login user method to pass the email and password. After that, here inside the login method, I will provide data dot token. So from the data which has been fetched from the backend, I'm going to use the token. And after that, if any error occurs, at that time it will show an alert box inside which it will be written invalid credentials. this is about the entire handle submit. Now we are going to place certain HTML elements in order to execute these functionalities. So inside the return method, I will place a div tag, and inside the div tag, I will place a header, which will say this is the login form. And then in order to provide the email and password, I will use the form tag. And inside this, I'm going to write the function. That is, if the form will be submitted, then which function will get executed? This handle submit function. And inside it, I will provide an input field, and this will take the type as email, and the placeholder I will provide it placeholder, and this one is going to be enter the email. And here, one more thing that we are required to do is we have to provide the on change event over here, so that whenever there will be certain changes inside the input field, at that time an arrow function will be executed, and this arrow function will take E as an object. Why is it taking the event object? Because here we are going to take this set email function in order to target the value of the value of this input field. What value will the user provide over here? The user will provide the email address, isn't it? So in order to target the email address provided by the user as the value to the input field, we will provide e.target.value. And then in order to make this input field necessary for the user to provide the input, we will provide required. After that, we will create one more input field for the password. So here the type is going to be password. And after that, I will place the same placeholder, copy this entire thing, and I will paste it over. And instead of email, I will provide password. And rest of the things will be same. And instead of set email, I will provide set password. And then required. And finally, in order to submit all of them, I will place a button. And this button will have the type submit. So now we are ready with our login form. Now what are we required to do? We are just required to export this entire login form. With the help of export default, login, and then we will save it. So after the login, we are going to create the next page, that is our signup.jsx. So we will go back over here, and then we will take the same things, that is use state and use context. Import React, use state hook, as well as the use context hook. From where? From the React library. And then I will take the register user functionality which I have defined inside my auth.js, not from the controller, from the register user app, that is API auth. And inside this, I will also import the auth context. Alright, and here I will create the main functionality for the signup. For that, I will write const signup is equal to an arrow function. And over here, I will take const login. And to this login, I will provide the auth context with the help of use context tool. After that, here I will set the values for name, email, and password the same way I have done inside the login.jsx. I will copy this entire thing and then I will paste it over here. And here, instead of set name and email, I will set the, instead of the email and password, I will provide the name as well. Here I will provide the name, and instead of set email, I will provide set name. And all of them with the initialized will be initialized with an empty string. After that, here also I will create an event for the submit button, which I will place inside the form tag. So when the submit button will be clicked, at that time, the same thing will be taking place. That is, the default event related to the button will be prevented, and whichever data we want from the backend, we are going to fetch that. Copy it, and then with the help of const, and we submit is equal to an asynchronous function providing the event object e as the parameter. Replace the entire thing. Inside this, along with the email and password, we will also provide the name. And here, in place of login user, I will write register user. That's it. This much of work we had to do inside the handle submit function. Now moving on to our HTML components. Inside the HTML components, all the things will be same, but we just have to add the name input so that the user can provide his name as well at the time of registering himself. Copy this entire thing and then paste it inside the sign in. Use the return method, and inside that, here I will provide the input, and here the type is going to be text, and then I will provide the placeholder. It's equal to, inside the placeholder I will provide enter the name. After the name, again I will provide the on change, and when there happens some kind of change inside the input field, an event will be executed, an arrow function will be executed, and this arrow function will assign the value of name with the help of set name method. And here we will provide e dot target dot value, so that the value of the input field is targeted with the help of event object. And we will also make it mandatory for the user to fill the required details. Now we are ready with our sign up and login. And just we have to do one more thing, that is exporting them. Export default sign up. Then we'll save it. And inside the subject, we'll provide sign up. After that, when the user will successfully provide his name, email ID, and register himself, then he will be navigated to the login page. And after the successful login of the user, he will be redirected to the dashboard. So inside the dashboard, I will take import React as well as the use context from the React library only. And after that, import the same thing, that is the auth context. Then I will create a function with the same name that of the file. Dashboard is equal to an arrow function. And inside this arrow function, I will take two variables, that is const user as well as logout. And to them, I will provide the auth context. And over here, I will place HTML elements inside the return method. And inside the div tag, I will place a header as well as a button. The header will say welcome. So here comes one more part of the auth context. The user which I was passing from the auth context, I will be using it over here in order to show the name of the user. So here I will provide user dot, instead of dot, we have to provide question mark, then dot, after that we will provide the name. And then if he clicks the button, at that time we will provide the on click event. And upon being clicked, he will go to the logout. So this one is going to be our logout button. And we'll finally export this dashboard. Save it. And then we'll go to the home.jsx. And inside the home, we'll just declare that a particular heading. And inside that heading, we'll just show that is this is a home page. So here I will provide import React from React. And as I have said in the previous class, that we use the navigate method or the link method in order to link a particular page to the different page. Or in order to navigate, we use the navigate method. Not a method, we use the use navigate method in order to navigate. All right. So here I will provide import. Here I will take link. From where I'm going to take it from the React router. And then I will create a function that is home is equal to assigning an arrow function to it, creating a div tag, and here I will place a header, and here I will provide a home page as the heading. Then I will provide a link, and this link will have an attribute that is tool is equal to. Here I will provide the endpoint for the login page, and here I will provide login. Or else there will be two options. First one is the link for login, and second one is going to be the link for sign up. Here I will write sign up. And then we'll finally export it. And then save it. So now we are done with all the pages that we have made. Now moving back finally to our app.jsx, where we are required to provide routing for all the pages by importing them. All right. Here I will provide import the same thing, React from the React library. And after that, here I will import the browser router. Instead of writing the entire browser router, every time you can just write router in place of browser router, followed by routes and then route. And you people will be able to know the difference between routes and route once we will provide all the routing inside this app.jsx. So here I will also import the auth provider. This the auth provider not there. Yeah, we have executed it. From this file, that is context. We require the auth context. And after that, we will take the protected route. And then I will import all the pages, that is home, sign up, login, and dashboard. Alright, so now I have successfully imported all these things. Here I will create a function which will be app. So here declaring a function that is app. And inside the function body, I will place a return method. And here I will create a router tag. So since I have written router, I actually mean that here I need to place the browser router. And since I have imported the browser router as only router, that is why we have to write router over here. And every single routing that we will provide over here should be placed inside the browser router only. And in order to provide all the contexts, we need to place all the elements inside the auth provider. And inside the auth provider, we need to provide the route stack. And inside the route stack, we have to provide route for every single element. Here I will provide the first route tag. And then this route tag will have two attributes. First one is the path. So path should be the same as to the two attribute of the link tag. Otherwise, the routing will have error. And with the help of this path, which element are we going to access? When the API endpoint is empty, at that time, we will access the home element. And this route tag is a self-closing tag. Similarly, if the path will be login, we will be accessing the login element. We'll place it over here. And then here I will provide login. And instead of home, I will provide login element over here. And here I will place the path for sign up. And here I will place the element of sign up. And after that, here I will provide the path for dashboard. Is equal to path. This one is for the dashboard. And here, for the element, I will provide the dashboard inside a protected route. Why am I providing the protected route? Because only when the user will log in and with the help of the token, at that time only the dashboard will be shown to the user. So here I will provide the element is equal to, inside the curly braces, I will first provide the protected route, and inside the protected route, I will place the dashboard. And then I will close this entire route. That's and then finally I will export this app. Export default app. Then Control S. And if we want to run it, I will write npm run dev. There might have occurred some kind of error. Okay, let's do one thing.
मैम साउंड नहीं आ रहा.
Then let's try to run.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's see where has the error occurred. Let's run our backend as well. So, dot
मैम 2 प्रॉब्लम शो हो रही ना नीचे कंसोल में.
So idea. There are no issues over here. Did you
Yes,
got it
ma'am.
in your group?
Yes,
How
ma'am.
many of you have gone through those lectures? How many of you have seen those videos? Okay, all right. So be ready with your doubts in the next class, and then if any doubts people come across, you people can ask me. And we are going to run this entire project tomorrow. So be present tomorrow, right? All right.
Okay, ma'am.
People can leave the meeting.